Peace to the earth. Y'all climb on in. Climb on in. We back. We back. They finally got me out of YouTube jail. So we back live with it. I've been detoxing. I know a lot of people have been wondering where I've been at, man. I've been on a major detox. So been on the herbs, cleansing my body, really getting a lot of toxemia up out of me, just being out in this environment, breathing in all these different types of chemtrails. And I've been traveling a whole lot. I mean, I literally been on a plane after plane after plane. So I had to sit down for a while and really detox. But look, I'm back at it. I'm right here, y'all. Y'all climb on in, climb on in. We finna go over some things. Happy fake New Year. Happy fake Janice two-faced God New Year's to y'all. I see y'all in here saying Happy New Year. I don't really follow any holidays or man-made tradition. I do everything based off nature, and based off nature, the new year will be in the springtime where everything is spring forth. But for those that do follow that, happy fake Janice two-faced Greek God New Year to you. Y'all climb on in, climb on in. Shalom, shalom to everybody climbing on in. I want to talk about something real particular and real important today. What we're going to go over is we're going to go over how eating is actually communion with God. And not only that, how all disease start in the gut. For those that travel to my seminars, they know about how I believe that all diseases, so-called diseases, originate from the gut, and how everything that's a part of your body actually spring from what we're going to call this primitive gut tube. I'm going to show y'all some good presentations. We're going to pull out some models. I'm going to show you how to heal the body. But first, you have to understand how to eat. And you have to understand when you're eating and ingesting and digesting these foods that you're actually in communion or communication with God. And I think if we start looking at eating as from more of a spiritual, cultural aspect, we wouldn't be putting all these different gnarly things on our plate. When I was having a real good conversation with a brother of mine, and we was talking about how your culture is supposed to be on a plate, and how you go anywhere in the United States or you go anywhere around the world, you will see that people make sure that their culture on the plate. And if their culture is not on the plate, then they don't eat it. But we're the only people, so-called African-American Negroes, and the Negroes that spread abroad to the four corners of the earth. You notice that they have everybody else culture on their plate, but they don't have their culture on the plate. And the reason why is because they don't know their culture, or they don't know their identity. And then, they wake up more in conscious levels and they find a culture or a culture that was given to them, and they really think that it's them or it's their culture. But you notice that this cannot be their culture or their dietary culture, because the food is still killing them. If it's really your culture, and if it's really a part of your biology or your chemical makeup, and if it's really for you and for your cells to thrive in, then when you eat these foods, it will assimilate with your body, and it will have your cells thriving. It will bring more oxygen to the body. It will bring more amino acid structures to the body to rebuild the body. It'll bring more trace minerals to the body to keep the body electrical, or act as that salt or glue to stick the deoxyribonucleic acid together, what they call the double helix DNA structure. If this is really for you, the food that you are eating, then it wouldn't be killing you. In fact, it'll make you thrive. In fact, it'll bring you longevity. But we see that it's doing the opposite. It's killing us. It got us in hospitals. It got us on insulin pens. It got us very hyper and hypoglycemic. It is tarnishing our blood. It's giving us cancer. It's mutating our cells. So obviously, this is not the cultural food that we need on our plate. Funny thing is, you go to China right now, if they don't have the culture on their plate, they won't eat it. If it ain't white rice and if it ain't seaweed, they won't eat it. You see what I'm saying? If you go to Italy right now, you're going to see their culture on their plate. You're going to see spaghetti. You're going to see all different types of cheeses. If you go and you look at certain other cave species, what we call Neanderthals, notice they like red meat. They like their meat medium rare, because they need the ammonia from the meat, and they need the sulfuric acid that makes up their eumelanin. You see what I'm saying? Everybody inside of this globe, or inside of this plane, however way you want to look at it, they have their culture on the plate. But when it comes to the so-called black man and black woman, they don't have their culture on the plate. And what you need to realize is that your culture is what connects you to your God. So if you're eating another people's culture, then you're serving another people's God. If you're eating another people's culture, then you're serving another person's tradition, whether you want to believe it or not. That's what's happening. So we're in communion with another people and another species God and not with ours. And it's causing a separation in our relationship to nature and in our relationship to God, all because we're eating the wrong food. Then you start getting into the food that you're eating dead animals' flesh. When we are a people of nature, you're not supposed to eat any dead animal's flesh. And then if you see what happened, you're eating day stress food. When anything dies, whether it's an animal species mammal, whether it's a Homo sapien, whether it's a prokaryotic cell, which is us, or your eukaryotic cell, there are certain type of chemical constituents that is released from the body when the body dies by way of the nervous system, because what's happening is DMT, or what they call dimethylthymiine, have to be produced by the pineal gland for they can get this psychedelic reaction in the brain, for they can shoot their consciousness through their nervous system and they can travel to the different dimensional planes that they go into. Well, in order to create this DMT, you have to release a lot of stress chemistry and the stress hormones within inside of the bloodstream. Like for instance, if you kill a cow right now, or if the cow naturally dies, either or. And this is how you know you can't get around this. And we're going to show this, and you can look this stuff up yourself. If you kill a cow right now, the cow knows that it's going to be slaughtered. Its adrenaline starts being produced, and it goes into a state of fight or flight. And all of this adrenochrome and all this epinephrine and cortisol and neuroepinephrine and even dopamine starts to be mixed and produced by the glandular highway and hypothalamus gland or the hippocampus, and all these stress hormones, or what you'll call neurotransmitters, are released into the blood. And then you kill this thing, and then you cook the blood into the meat. Now you're cooking these melanin neurotransmitters, or these neurotransmitters, into the meat, and you're eating that stress meat. So you're taking on the spirit or the pseudo spiritual part of that animal. Not only are you taking on their neurotransmitters, but you're taking on their proteins too, their genetic structure, the things that they need to build and make up their mechanism. So you're eating these things, and then you wonder why you start thinking like the beast that you're eating, or you having all these different type of anxieties and heart palpitations, and you're going through all these stress diseases because you're eating stress food. Now that's if you kill it. But a lot of people don't tell you, and if you do just simple studies, these things will show you this too. If an animal died naturally without you killing it, by the animal dying period, the body automatically relaxes and releases certain endorphins, for the body can shoot its consciousness to the next dimensional plane. And you can see this in death through any type of species. When something dies, it releases chemicals, because the factor that it's trying to get is this psychedelic hormone called DMT. Think I'm lying. Dimethylthymiine. And this DMT can only be produced and made by serotonin, melatonin, cortisol, epinephrine, and neuroepinephrine, all pushed from the adrenal glands, or what we're going to call the autonomic nervous system, and the hypothalamus gland due to the hippocampus, the pituitary gland, and the pineal gland. So whether you die stressfully or whether you die at peace, your body is still going to release these stress hormones. And then when you eat these things, and you're eating these angry chickens, and you eating these turkeys, or what you call vultures, and you eating these cows, and eating all these things that's supposed to be a part of nature, not a part of your dinner plate, because that's not a part of your culture to eat these things. You're taking on the spirit, you're taking on the mentality, and you're taking on the actual stress chemistry of these animals. And that's the reason why so-called Black African Americans are the leading number one cause in stress-related diseases, because you're eating stress foods, you're eating stress meats, you're eating stressed out embryo sacs, or what you call eggs. Everything you eat is stressed out or is in a dead state, and it causes these things to release all of these different chemistries, or what we're going to call hormones. And that's how you're dying. You're dying because what you're putting on your plate. You're dying because you're putting other people's cultures on your plate. Notice no other culture do that but you. Every other culture will not even eat the food unless their culture is on their plate. I don't watch Chinese people sell you bullshit in your neighborhood and don't even eat their own bullshit that they sell you. Guess what? Chinese people don't eat Chinaman food. Chinese people don't eat chop suey and all of that. They don't. But they will put that on your plate and give it to you. You see that? We have to get in tune with our culture. We have to get in tune with our God. We have to get in tune with who we are. We mirror and we reflect nature. So our best teacher can only be, which is what we come from, and that is nature. And if you look at nature and you start studying physiology, you start studying autonomy and anatomy, you will see that we're not supposed to be eating animals or nothing that come from them but honey, manuka honey, every now and then. Other than that, if it's produced or it comes from an animal, it's not supposed to go in our mouths, because your body is that simplistic, your body is that powerful, and your body is that spiritual. This is spiritual suicide, cultural suicide, physical suicide, and mental and emotional suicide whenever you eat dead things. And look, that's just the fact of the matter, family. If y'all get what I'm saying so far, type in some nines and we're going to get to the presentation. If y'all get what I'm saying so far, type in some nines and we're going to get to the presentation. It's finna get deep. Now, we're going to show and prove. Now, this is going to blow your mind, because we finna actually start going into the gut. And the gut is the first brain. The gut is not the second brain. The second brain, which will be the cardiovascular nervous system, which is right in your chest. The third brain will be the central nervous system, or what they call the central nervous system, which is in your head. We're going to talk about the first brain today, which is the gut, and how all things come from the gut, and how everything and all disease spring from the gut. The gut is where your mind is at. It's called solar plexus, or the solar plexus chakra. Notice we are solar children. We are children of the sun. And the reason why it's the solar, because it's the foundation principle to everything. And this is where most of your serotonin and melatonin is at. Whether we're going to claim it's produced by the pineal gland or not, most of the serotonin and melatonin is in the gut. Most of the nerves is in the gut. Everything comes from the gut. Everything. Your lymphatic system springs from the gut. Everything you're talking about comes from the gut. You can't breathe without your gut, because your gut is in control of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, things that runs on autopilot. You breathing is on autopilot. Digestion is on autopilot. Your heart beating, boom, 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 is on autopilot. All these things are on autopilot, and it's controlled by the gut, the intrinsic nervous system. And we finna show you how. And that's the reason why naval therapy is so important, because the umbilical cord is where all of these nerve endings at. You have more nerve endings in your umbilical cord or in your belly button than you have in any part of your body, including your hands and your feet. And the reason why is because that's where your brain is. That's where your brain is. And that's why you got to let that umbilical cord fall off and do a lotus birth, and don't get it snipped and stuff like that, because we're messing with the brain of our children. And they're growing up with a sense of separation and not connection, because you forced that cord off. And that's how they came through this etherical realm to get here, y'all. It's very, very spiritual, but we always think spiritual is pseudo. So anytime you try to mix spirituality with anatomy and with physiological teachings, it throws you off. But from a Hebraic African standpoint, we learn the spiritual first anyway. You can't go to your rites of passage at the age of 12 in Africa if you haven't graduated from spirituality school. And spirituality school is so important, because everything comes from the absolute spiritual realm, then manifests itself into the physical. All disease are spiritual. All disease are emotional. All disease starts off emotional and then manifests itself physical. That's why all diseases can trace back to an emotional component. So we have to learn these things, because that's our culture. See that when you start getting into other people's sciences and all of that, you're getting into other people's culture. You start getting into other people's health field, you're starting to get into other people's culture. You are biochemically different from a lot of people. You are spiritually different from a lot of people. Your spirituality is what makes up your biochemistry. So when you start getting into science, that don't mean it's fact. Science is full of theories based off of somebody else's culture. In fact, if you get into this science field, it's based off a lot of Greek philosophy. That's why a lot of your body parts are named after Greek gods. Arteries, Aries, and all of these other things, meaning the air holder. All this stuff go back to Greek philosophy, Greek gods. Yes, anus, butthole, the two cheeks. Anus is a god. Foranus, vagina. Phosphoranus means false hole, false god. Over two cheeks. Cheeks, all of this is Greek philosophy that is named after your body. The Achilles heel. This is Greek philosophy. How is that fact if it's named after Greek mythology? It's not. So we are tapping into a science that's a part of somebody else's culture. You see that? So we need to start getting into our sciences. We need to start getting into our teachings, our spirituality, our foods, our live it's not diet, and tap back into our culture. And we'll be in direct communion with our God, and we won't be suffering from all these so-called diseases. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. My bad, y'all. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. All right, let me share my screen and we finna get to it. Let's get it. Let me share my screen and we're gonna get into it. If y'all ready, if y'all can hear me and if y'all can see me well, type in some nines, matter of fact. If y'all can hear me and see me well before we get into this, type in some nines. I've been going on and on and on. And we're gonna get into this. We finna show how everything comes from the gut. And if we have time, we'll dive into the questions. If not, I'll make sure I get some questions. I answer some questions tomorrow before I leave. All right, make sure y'all get y'all pens and y'all pads because we finna dive in deep real quick. Okay. So what you're seeing here is an embryo. So we're going to go over some embryology. Embryology is very, very deep. And once we really go through this anatomy structure class, and I'm finna do real fast, you're going to understand, understand why holistic health and healing is so important, and why having your culture on the plate is so important, and why being connected to your true culture, not a culture that somebody then gave you, connected to your true culture, that we can pull out scientific evidence and facts to prove these things. Why it's so important that you get with it and you get with it ASAP, because I'm going to show you the reason why you dying so much, y'all. Now, when we looking at this this embryo, what we're looking at, we're actually looking at something called the primitive gut tube. So if you get into embryology start off like this. Everything start off as a zygote, then the zygote turn into these different layers of skin or cells, tissues called the endoderm, the ectoderm, and the mesoderm. All right, so, you know, if you look at mesomorphic people, then will be your Chinese or Mongoloid people. When you get into your ectoderm people, then will be your Neanderthals or your Caucasian people. When you get into your endoderm people, that will be your Hebraic African gods, like us, prokaryotic cells. So, you know, endomorphic, mesomorphic, and ectomorphic people. And you can tell that by associated diseases. Notice when you get into Neanderthals or people that descend from caves and Caucasians and stuff like that, they tend to have a lot of skin disease. See that's ectoderm. When you get into Chinese people, they tend to have a lot of back problems and things like that. That's mesoderm. Then us, we have a lot of organ problems because our organs are out of tune. That's endomorphic people. And this is a whole different type of science, but it traces back to Africa. And when you dive deep into this, it will blow your mind. And it shows you how you can diagnose yourself with diseases way before the disease even manifests, y'all. All right, so now we looking at this embryo, and this embryo is showing us something very, very key here. Notice the first thing that start being produced on an embryo is called the primitive gut tube. And if you look on the right side of the screen, that's what this is. That is a primitive gut tube that we're looking at. And notice why the primitive gut tube have to come first. The reason why is because all other organs springs and originate from the primitive gut tube. That's how important the gut is, because remember, the gut is what comes from the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is your entryway into this world, how you eat, how you're part of the placenta, how you had all of your dreams, how you got all your stem cells, everything about you, your eukaryotic cells, prokaryotic cells, everything that you need to build up who you are that made you who you are today is what you've been putting in your gut and what came from your gut. Because your gut is your foundation, because we are solar spiritual sun people. Solar means sun. Your solar plexus is dead center gut, y'all. And I'm going to prove this scientifically, y'all, through African science. Now, when you start looking at this gut, this primitive gut tube, the primitive gut tube actually breaks off into three different parts. You have the foregut, you have the mid gut, and you have the hide gut. Notice that the gut is starting to formulate right here. If you look at the embryo on the right side, on the left side, we're just looking at an alien embryo. And I say this a lot, but I want to show y'all this too. Whenever an embryo is in a fetus is inside of a black woman's womb, it is going through its evolution process. You're going to see this fetus and this embryo take shapes of aliens. It's going to look like seashells. It's going to look like seahorses. It's going to look like a turtle. It look like an amphibian. They're going to have gills. We go through wind, water, earth, fire. You go through land animals, ocean animals. We all start off aquatic. We all come from the water, y'all. All of us do. And you're going to see how you go and you metamorphosize yourself to becoming a human being in order to even get in this matrix of what we call the Rakim. So people don't believe in evolution outside of the black woman's womb, but you cannot disprove evolution inside the black woman's womb because it exists. We see aquatic, sentient beings become land mammals here on this earth by way of the black woman's womb. All right, so now we're starting to see this primitive gut tube form, and I want to show y'all some things here. So notice if you look in the middle of the embryo, notice the primitive gut tube, it spreads and it starts going into the foregut. It goes into the midgut, and it goes into the actual hide gut here. Check that out. Now, when you look over into the left-hand side, you start seeing the somodenum. You see that? Then you see the buccopharyngeal membrane. You see the coecal membrane, the proctodenum. You see the posterior intestinal portal and the anterior intestinal portal. So we're starting to see a whole lot of things be formed off the primitive gut tube. This yellow part you see here is the nervous system. The nervous system in the primitive gut tube is created at the same time of the embryo coming into existence for a reason, y'all. Now check this out, and this is the third week. When you get into the post-laryngeal, you start seeing derivatives that come from it. So you see the esophagus comes from the gut. The stomach, of course, comes from the gut. The duodenum, where all of your metabolic absorption, things like that, when you break down your food and how food actually passes through this hollow tube called the gut and enter into the blood barrier or mucosa barrier of the body, it all happens through the duodenum. The liver comes from the gut. The biliary apparatus come from the gut. The pancreas come from the gut. So if you have pancreas issues like diabetes, you have a gut issue. You see that? If you have biliary apparatus issues, you have a gut issue. If you have liver issues, you have a gut issue, because all these things come from the primitive gut tube. If you have a duodenum or absorption issue, you have a gut issue. If you have a stomach issue, you have a gut issue. If you have esophagus problems, you have a gut issue, or what they will call acid reflux, or cardiac sphincter peristalsis. All these things are a part of the gut. See, they don't teach you this inside of schools, and they don't teach you this in grade school, because then you're going to have to be dominant over the gut, and you can't let your gut control you. And that's going to stop their pockets, because they make billions and billions and billions of dollars having your gut control you, other than you controlling your gut. You see that? Your belly have became your God, and that's the reason why you sick. Because you don't know how powerful the belly truly is. The solar plex chakra truly is. But I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show it to you today. Now, when you start getting into the pre-laryngeal, and this just shows you derivatives, the pharynx come from there. The pharyngeal pouches, derivatives, the tongue. Your tongue is a extension of your digestional tract. So the tongue actually comes from the gut, y'all. Then your auditory tubes, which is your ears. You can't hear without your gut, because your auditory tubes come from your gut. So you wonder why people have a lot of equilibrium problems, because they have gut problems. You wonder why children have a bunch of hearing problems or have a bunch of earaches. That's because they have a lot of mucus inside of their gut. And these associated tissues all come from the primitive gut tube. Your middle ear come from the gut. The palatine tonsils. Your tonsils come from the gut. Notice your tonsils is nothing but lymph nodes. So your lymph nodes come and originate from where? The gut. The thymus. The thymus gland is a big old lymph node that covers the heart. That's part of the lymphatic system. That comes from the gut. The thyroid and the parathyroid glands, or not only lymph node glands, but these glands are in control of your metabolitic process. That's in control of speeding up the way you metabolize your food or slowing down. It also is in controlling your heartbeat, the rate of your heartbeat. The parathyroid is actually in control of your calcium utilization, whether it's going to yield calcium in the blood or keep calcium from coming from the bone matrix in the blood. All of these important glands, or what we're going to call the endocrine systems or the chakras, originate from where? The gut. This is how important the gut is and how all disease actually starts in the gut, because every organ in the body comes from the gut other than the nervous system. And the reason why the nervous system doesn't come from the gut is because the nervous system is that germate, or what we're going to call the sperm that comes from the father testicles. Look, your respiratory passages come from where, y'all? The gut. So even your lungs and the respiratory passages that goes to the lungs, like your bronchial pathways, come from where, y'all? The gut. So without the gut, it's impossible to hear. Without the gut, it's impossible to speak because it gives you your tongue. You couldn't taste without the gut. Without the gut, you wouldn't have tonsils or a lymphatic system. Without the gut, you wouldn't have a thymus gland, which means you wouldn't have T cells or B cells. And without the gut, you would not have metabolic rate processes or the utilization of calcium, and you wouldn't be able to breathe. And I'm not even making this stuff up, y'all. That's how important the gut is. Now, matter of fact, let me get off of here for a minute. Let me see y'all face before we keep it pushing. I want to make sure that y'all get everything that I'm saying. Do y'all get everything I'm saying so far? Can we keep going? Do y'all see how important the gut is? That's how important, and that's why you have to have your culture on the plate. What you feeding your true brain, because your true first brain is the gut. It is not this meaty substances that's made of white and gray matter inside of my head that got 3 to 4 ventricles and have the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus gland, colostrum, the hippocampus, and all these different other things. No, the true brain is the gut. Then it builds up. Most of your memory is stored in the gut. See, if you start really, really studying, they don't want to tell you this stuff, but most of your memory is actually stored in your gut. It's not stored up here. Memory is stored in every different cell of your body. Most of your cells are in your gut. Most of the interstitial fluid in your body is in the gut. Most of the nervous system and nerve endings is in the gut. Most of the bacterium, or what we're going to call the microbiota that makes up 100 trillion cells that make up your whole body, is stored in your gut. Most of your lymphatic associated tissues are stored in the gut. The Peyer's passage, that's in the gut. Do y'all know what the Peyer's passage is? We're going to go over it. And this is vital to your health. All of this is in the gut. Do you walking around with people that got all this heavy excess meat packed in their gut? People that ain't pooped in months or pooped in weeks, and all of these fumes and gases are building up in the gut. People are eating dead animals, corpse, just rotting in the gut. And you eating, that's a communion with God. That's why you're supposed to be eating light cold foods and exchanging light cold frequencies, because when you're eating, you're communicating with the God that is within you, literally. And you're doing that, and you disrespected nature, and you're disrespecting God by eating dead things. Dead things that is mucus and acidic forming, that is not alkaline and can't bring you any type of electricity to stimulate your system. Instead, you're getting stimulated off of proteins from dead neurotransmitters of animals, taking on their spirit, taking on their biology, and taking on their mental capability and capacity. And you wonder why you act the way you act. You wonder why you stressed out. You wonder why you sick all the time, why you always sad, why you always down, or why you want to hump and fuck on everything you see, because that is animal basic instincts. It's called the reptilian brain. And you're operating out of that very reptilian brain because you eating animals' flesh and don't even realize it. Or you eating derivatives from animals. You drinking their milk and they pus and they blood. You making it out of ice cream. Everything you do is about eating another animal, and you wonder why you act the way you act. Because you're feeding your brain their brain, basically, because your brain is not in your head. Your brain is in every cell of your body, every cell. It's called the membrane, or the nucleus, or the nucleus of the cell. That's where the DNA data print is at in every 150 trillion cell in your body. I don't know how to even break this down more simply. You are what you eat. Everything you eat breaks down and becomes your molecular structure. Now check this out. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. We really gotta start paying attention to this gut, family. Now, remember what we said, the esophagus actually comes from the gut. All right. Now you see the tonsils, you see the tongue. I am looking at an extension of the gut here, y'all. All this comes from the gut. So if your breath stinking and you have a lot of bacteria and fungus on the tongue, that is a derivative of what is lurking inside of your intestines, because your tongue is an extended esophagus and your esophagus is an extended intestinal tract. So if your breath stink, that means you have stinky, death things that is deep within the pit of your belly, or what we're going to call the true belly of the beast, because all you're doing is filling your belly with dead beasts, dead animals. And that's why you sick and full of diseases, man. Now, this is the important part, and the reason why I really want to get to this, because your gut is the formulation of the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system is how you heal any disease on the body. I don't care what disease it is. I don't care what so-called virus it is. I don't care what it is. I can heal it and get rid of it if you just sit back and let me cleanse this system for you called the lymphatic system. But guess what? The lymphatic system comes from the gut. So the first way to cleanse the lymphatic system is what? Cleansing the gut, family. Cleansing the gut. Matter of fact, before we even get into this, let me show you how to cleanse the gut. We're going to do a little different today. Before we even get into this, let me show you how to cleanse the gut. Y'all get y'all a pen and a pad. Tell me when y'all got y'all pen and y'all pad, and I'm going to tell you how to cleanse your gut. Let me know when you got your pen and your pad. And I'm going to show you how to cleanse the gut. That's the first thing we're going to focus on, is truly cleansing the gut out. Let's walk through this. Let's walk it on out. Let's walk this on out. Y'all see that? Look at this and look at what's inside the gut. This is a lymphatic system model. Notice all of the lymphatic associated tissues, veins, vessels, arteries, all these different blood pathways, the vena cava, all of that is directly in the gut. So if you start cleansing the gut, then you will start cleansing the lymphatic system by default, because most of your lymph nodes and most of your lymphatic vessels or what they call lymphatic epithelial cells are all associated in the gut. So if you truly want to find out how to absorb, how to digest, how to utilize, and how to eliminate properly and cleanse the system and truly cleanse the system, whether we talk about spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or physically, you have to cleanse the gut. You have to. That's where all the lymph vessels is at, and they all start from here too. All of them start from here. Everything starts from the gut. This is your foundation principle. Notice everything is going on right here. This is the solar system. This is the solar plexus. Solar means sun or light. This is where true light is manifested from the gut. And you putting all type of darkness and death inside of yours and wonder why you can't think straight. You got brain fog. You got sinus cavities. You got mucus clogged up everywhere. Your penis can't get hard. Your vagina is dry. I mean, everything that you're going through because you fail to realize what you putting inside of your gut is what's manifesting all these so-called diseases. You're stopping your communication with God. Eating is a form of communion with Yahweh. And you can't commune with him when you stuffing things inside of your belly that goes against nature. And one thing that goes against nature is eating his creation. The animals, when he gave you food, Genesis 1:29. The fruits yielding seeds after its kind shall be meat unto you. Then another one was the herbs is for the healing of the nation. Eat your fruits, and then when you need to heal, take the herbs to cleanse the gut. Every disease you're going through, start here. Everybody want to talk about the brain. Every disease you talk about, start here in this brain. This, because your belly have became your God. Now let's show you how to cleanse this thing. Let me show you how to cleanse it. I got you. I got this down. All right. So the first thing you need to do is you need to start getting on astringent herbs that's going to pull. So the first thing, matter of fact, is going all liquid and taking a solid food vacation. All right. Somebody write that in here. Say solid food vacation. Solid food vacation. It's good to fast, y'all. Fasting actually reboots your lymphatic system. It actually resets the tone of your T cells and your B cells, everything, y'all. All right. Solid food vacation. That's the first thing. Go on a solid food vacation. Even if that consists of watery fruits. All right. There's different levels to eating, y'all. You actually have, and I'm going to start from the top and go down. You have breatharianism, where you're just eating off the nitrogen atoms base that's inside of the air and breaking these healing constituents down to carbon and what they call sugar. Then from there, you have liquiditarianism, where you're doing nothing but drinking. All you do is drink liquids, and this liquids which will be H3O2, fruit juices, not H2O, which is the wrong water for the wrong physiology. See that physiology for animals and stuff like that. Your water comes from your fruits, H3O2. Structured water, healing constituents, carbon constituent chains, things that's going to fire off ATP, adenosine triphosphate, inside of the cell due to carbon dioxide. See, that's what you need to be drinking. Myoxide. That's what you need to be drinking. H3O2, structured water, easy water. See that? So you have breatharianism, liquiditarianism. Then from there, you have fruitarianism, which is the diet that was given to us. Fruitarianism, or what you call frugivorism. That is for our physiology and a lot of other different primates. That's what we're supposed to be eating. And I'd improve this 1,000 times over, that you're not a herbivore, you're not an omnivore, and you damn sure ain't a carnivore. You are a frugivore. That's why when I put you on an all-fruit diet, your body starts cleansing itself, your cell starts to become elastic, and you start to really start bringing in a lot of hydration, and your energy levels go up, and any disease you have, you get rid of it because you're on your proper diet. Now you're putting your culture on your plate. You see that? Then from there, we have the herbivore plant kingdom, when you stop eating the reproductive part of the plant and you start eating the actual springing part of the plant, like the roots and the seeds and stuff like that. And then I'm not going to even go towards animals and go towards beans and grains, because that ain't no damn diet. Beans and grains ain't no diet, and animals sure ain't no diet. So mine stops at the plants. All right, so we're going to say plants, or what you call the vegetable kingdom, then the frugivore fruit kingdom, then the liquiditarian kingdom. You see that? Then the breatharian kingdom. That's the 4 elements of your food. If it goes past vegetables, then you are already deaf. You're walking in a deaf culture, because it's going to bring sickness and disease, because it's acidic forming. And these acids actually brings a mucosa response, and that mucus will kill your ass because it smothers the cells, and it causes the cells to start dividing uncontrollably, or what they call cellular mitosis. This brings on cellular apoptosis, where the cells begin to die and mutate. Now you done went from a acute stage to a typical stage, to a subacute stage, to a chronic stage, to a degenerative stage, and that degenerative stage is deterioration of the cells. That's death, cellular death. All because what you putting in the gut. You see that? So if you truly want to cleanse the gut, go on a solid food vacation. Do nothing but H3O2. Nothing but fruit juices. If you get too hungry, eat a solid fruit here and there. You know that? And make sure that the solid fruit is full of waters. So make sure you're eating melon, the melon kingdom, and things like that. Cantaloupe, honeydew. You know what I'm saying? Even pumpkin, that's a part of the melon family. Cucumbers, that's a part of the melon family. Make sure you take the skin off the cucumbers. Zucchini, that's a part of the melon family. All right? If that's still too watery, switch over to apples and things like that. Right? Now, while you're on these things, you're going to start hydrating the body. Anybody know what hydration do? Just let your basement flood. You're going to start seeing the furniture moving around. Let that basement flood long enough. You're going to start seeing the walls deteriorate at the bottom and break up, showing you that hydration breaks up calcification and breaks up coagulation and agglomulation. So when you start bringing hydration to the system, you start breaking up all of that hard calcification and systemic acidosis, because acids burn things together. It's called a cationic environment. We're trying to make it an anionic environment. We're trying to bring more electrolytes. We're trying to bring more femininality to the system. See, when it's masculine, shit get destructive, because wars is based in masculine energy. We're trying to bring that balance and bring in Big Mama, the lipids. See, that's Big Mama. And that's where the lymphatic system come in at. That's where calcium come in at, iron phosphate. That's where zinc, selenium. Now we bringing in electrolytes. This is the negative side of chemistry. The negative side of chemistry is the feminine side and what you call the alkaline side. So now we're alkaline in the body because we're hydrating the cells. Now the clunks and things that was making the cells get real hard, like fermented sugars and high fructose corn syrup and bleach white flour and sugar cane that have been extracted from the sugar. Now we breaking up neurotoxins. Now we breaking up, we breaking up toxemia. Now we breaking up uric acid, carbonic acid. See, that water and that hydration breaks things up. See, now once things get breaking up, you got to be careful though, because you don't want it to go into the bloodstream, because then you can go down because your healing crisis. So we got to make sure we doing it at a steady pace. There's an art to healing. People just out here Googling, trying to become herbalists. There's an art to being a healer, y'all. There's an art to being a priest. These things are arts. You got to know, like what the great teachers say, you got to know when to hold them or when to fold them. You got to know when to go head first into the cleanse. Level 3, you got to know when to slow them down. You got to know when to cut that fast with some grapes, or to cut that fast with a big ass soup, or to cut that fast with some vegetables. You see that? Because vegetables slow down the healing because all the nitrates that's inside the vegetables, showing you that you're not an herbivore, you're actually a frugivore. So now you got you on your liquid diet, you're on your solid food vacation. Now the hydration is breaking up all of these acids and all of the calcification. Now you're moving these things. Now it's time to start bringing in the herb kingdom. Now the herb kingdom is very, very important in this sense, because we're not using it to rebuild the structure. We're using the herbs for its toxicity, because these toxicities in these poisons herbs is going to create your body to have a limitatory response. Notice if you drink too much alcohol, you wake up with a hangover and you throw it up everywhere. Same thing if you take Yaki 3 bitters. You might get a headache and you throwing up everywhere, because the body is trying to get rid of the poisons or the toxins that's built up within inside of the vegetables that we call herbs. See, I'm not using the herbs to rebuild the body. I'm using the herbs for a purgatory state. I'm trying to purge the body. I'm trying to plumb the body, open up the lymphatic system, open up the tissues, and purge and remove all the toxicities that's been built up in the cells. Well, if you ain't removing it from the gut first, then you can forget it. You can forget it, because the gut is the foundation of your problem. So the first thing we got to cleanse is the gut. Now we're going to get some gentian root. Write these down. We're going to get some gentian root. You see that? Very, very good for the gut. We're going to get some gravel root. Very good gut sweeper. We're going to get some slippery inner bark. Very good to cleanse that gut. We're going to get some Cascara sagrande. Very good to cleanse that gut. We're going to get some Pavana. Very good to cleanse and to sweep that gut. Now, while you're going out there and you're doing a GI broom, which means we sweeping the GI tract, you need something that's going to start pulling on the interstitial and all the lymph nodes that's associated with the gut. And we gotta put something in it that's going to, incite the nerve system too, because most of the nerves in the gut. So I'm trying to cleanse the gut, which is have a GI, a gastrointestinal tract intestinal broom to sweep the GI. Now, while I'm sweeping the GI, getting all that fecal matter and dead corpuscles and dead corpse animals and shit up out of there, now I got to actually cleanse the lymphatic system. Now it's time to start cleansing all the lymph nodes. So I just gave you a herbal formula for the actual cleansing and the sweeping of the GI broom, or you can go on my website and get my GI super mover or my gut restoration, or you can buy them herbs I just told you yourself and put together your own package, or get my 3 bitters. That is a very, very good gut cleanser. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter, either or. Then after that, we have to simultaneously go after the lymphatic system, because if the gut was calcified and you have dead, rotten animals' flesh and all this putrefaction building up in this rotten defecation of animals in the gut, that means that the lymph nodes have become calcified because mucus had to respond, and the mucus is going to respond with calcium monotriphosphate because calcium is your only well, not your only, I'll be lying if I said that, it's your most highest electrical mineral. That's why calcium is all inside of the lymphatic system. But the thing is, when calcium start mixing with acids, it causes calcification. This is where you get gout from. This is where you get calcified pineal glands at. This is where you get fluoridation from. This is where you get all these things like gout, arthritis, multiple sclerosis. All these things come from too much damn calcium because you got too many acids inside of the gut. See that? So the mucosal membrane is going to have to respond to come put out the acids or put out the fire. The only way it can put the fire out is through a monosaccharide sugar base that's inside of the lymphatic mucosal membrane and with calcium monotriphosphate. Calcium monotriphosphate mixed with a monosaccharide sugar, glucose, galactose, or fructose. These things mixing with uric acid, carbonic acid, phytic acid, lactic acid, that shit becomes hard as a rock. So now you got lymph nodes inside the gut that's hard as a rock, and the blood capillaries is hard as a rock, and you wonder why you're not absorbing anything and you're not getting any phytonutrients or phytonutrient pharmaceuticals inside of the bloodstream. The reason why you're not getting them inside of the bloodstream is because it's all blocked because the door is calcified as hell. And that's the reason for the hydration, to break up the calcification, to break up the agglomeration and the coagulation of toxemia that you've been putting in your true God, your true solar plexus, your true sun, which is your gut, which everything springs from. Now you're sweeping it with the GI super movers and the herbs I just gave you, or my 3 bitters, or my GI super movers, or my gut restoration tonic. Now you sweeping it and you pooping out and you pooping out. You got diarrhea. You getting rid of all these different things. Hopefully some worms gonna come out. But if the worms ain't gonna come out, I'm gonna deworm you anyway. See that? I always deworm. I deworm everybody the first month of the cleanse. We have to deworm you because you can have a hookworm or a tapeworm or a fluke worm up in there stopping all action because they hate when you start trying to clean them out. They hold on to their dear life. I done seen people pull a worm out their butt and the worm will break off and the other half of the worm will suck back in their booty hole and then regrow itself. So it's some nasty, gnarly things when you start dealing with an acidic medium. We have to realize that parasites is not the cause, they're the effect. Bacteria is not the cause, it's the effect. You see that? Viruses are not the cause, it's the effect. The cause is living an acidic lifestyle, living a lake of fire mentality. Your whole body is on fire and you in pain all day long because you have become a slave to the beast that's in your damn belly. See, that's the true acidosis. That's the cause of all diseases, living in an acidic medium. And we have to clean these acids up out of the body. All right? So now we on the liquid diet. We on the solid food vacation. We got the GIs. We moving and we sweeping all the built up fecal matter outside the intestinal tract. We getting rid of that. And you losing weight and your skin starting to look good too. Because now your skin ain't got to take a poop no more because you pooping by yourself now. So now your skin, which is the largest organ, exoteric organ and absorption factor on your body, or what you'll call the third kidney, don't have to take a poop no more. So now your skin clearing up. You ain't got patches and bumps everywhere because your skin don't have to defecate and shit anymore because you're doing it on your own now. You see what I'm saying? So now it's time to turn on the nerves and it's time to cleanse the lymph nodes. So now we're going to write lymph nodes on your piece of paper. Write lymph nodes. Write lymph nodes down. Now, when you get into herbs of the lymph nodes, you're going to get into the botanical root kingdom. Burdock root. Very, very good. It cleanses the blood. It's full of iron phosphate. This is called the barbs family. Whenever you talk about yellow dock, burdock, and dandelion root, we're getting into the barbs family. That's the botanical name of these, the barbarous family. All right, so burdock root. Burdock root is very, very good for the lymphatic system, the lymph nodes in particular. It also cleanses the cardiovascular system. It cleanses the blood, and it brings the cells high levels of oxygen by way of iron phosphate. So burdock root. Now we're going to get into yellow dock root too, because yellow dock is good for calcification. Yellow dock is very, very good for calcification, especially when you mix yellow dock with hydrangea root. Hydrangea root is more for kidney stones, calcification, and stuff like that. But when you mix hydrangea root with yellow dock, it does something to the lymph nodes. I don't know I got to figure out the scientific jargon on what it does. But whenever I mix them two together and I give it to people, they can have swollen lymph nodes. They're going straight down. They can have accesses and all different types of, growing associated tissues on the lymph nodes. It's leaving. Anytime I get it to people with tumors that's hard as a rock become soft. Now you can get your lymphatic massages and we can get rid of all of that. So it's something about mixing hydrangea root with yellow dock that's just fucking amazing, to be honest with you. I got to figure out what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very good for calcification. And I know hydrangea root is full of gold and copper when it's in friction with each other, especially in a moving stream of interstitial fluid, that is good for breaking up calcification. But it's something when you mix it with that not that burdock, but that yellow dock root, where it really, really break up lymph nodes, and it don't kill the lymph node or detach the lymph node. It just break up the calcification that was on the lymph node for being in that cationic environment. So now we're moving and we're breaking up that. So we're going to go burdock, yellow dock, hydrangea root, and we're going to go cleaver's leaf, and plantain leaf, cleaver's leaf and plantain leaf. Mix all these together, take them as a tea, or you can get my lymphatic suite from off my website. See, I'm giving you both of them. If you don't want to be your own herbalist, you don't want to do it yourself, and you want to make sure that the herbs are organic and in a potent, most powerful state, buy them from me. Get them off the website, www.yakiawaken.com, or you can find your own source, your own herbalist, or you can try to make these things yourself. You see that this is all a learning or a remembering process to y'all. That's it. So now we done went after the gut. We done liquefied the body. Hydration is setting in. The water, salt, potassium, monophosphate ratio is kicking back in. We bringing more leak channel ions back to the body. The right and the left hemisphere of the brain is communicating. The gut is communicating with the entire system. Now we're breaking up all this coagulation because we hydrating the system, and we taking astringent herbs, and we opening up the lymphatic vessels because we kicking this ass, and we decalcifying all the lymph nodes. Now you got to turn on the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is in mid-gut. See that? And I'm going to show y'all what I'm talking about. See, the autonomic nervous system is in mid-gut, y'all. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so when you're looking at this model, right? We're going to show you mid-gut. Let's take the lungs off. We can leave the heart on. See, all of this is gut right here. Let's take the liver off. When you take the liver off and you take away the stomach, we're going to take away the transverse colon. We're going to take away the jejunum, the ileum, and the cecum. Now we got the pancreas right here, and we got the duodenum right here. The duodenum is this little 9-inch tract that I was talking about where most of your absorption factor happened at, right? So look, let's start getting rid of the ascending colon, the descending colon, the sigmoid colon, the duodenum, the pancreas, and we got a little snippet of the gallbladder. Notice that was right there. As soon as you take that off, guess what's smack dead in the middle? The kidneys and the adrenals, which is right up under the diaphragm, the muscle, or the diaphragmatic muscle that pushes up on the lungs, or actually pulls the lungs down, that becomes the pump for the body's blood, right? Or what you say, life is in the blood. Check this out. Now, the reason why the kidneys and the adrenal glands is smack dead middle of the gut is because the kidneys and the adrenal glands is in control of the whole entire body, because the adrenal glands is in control of the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. And without the adrenal glands, the kidneys can't filtrate. Well, the kidneys is very important because the kidneys is what filtrates the lymphatic system. The kidneys is what filtrates the lymph nodes that I was talking about. The lymphatic system and the glymphatic system is the sewage system of the body. Remember that I always teach y'all that blood is what feeds the cells of the body. The lymphatic system is what cleanses the cells of the body. And the nervous system that we're finna kick on and turn on is what actually communicates with all the 150 trillion cells in the body. Well, what's over the lymphatic system, what's over the nervous system, what's over all and the blood system is these two glands that sits on top of the kidneys right here. They're the shape of pyramids, and they're the size of walnuts. These are called the adrenal glands, and this is in control of the autonomic nervous system. The adrenal glands actually produces something called acetylcholine, and this is a melanin neurotransmitter, or what they call / hormone. And what this melanin neurotransmitter does is it constricts and dilates all the vessels inside of the human body. Not only the blood vessels, but the lymphatic vessels too. And this is what I mean when I say that. So when the adrenal gland starts kicking on and you hydrate them and you get the adrenal glands communicating with the body, now remember that stagnation that I was talking about? Because you've been taking on all these acids and you just been calcifying shit everywhere, so nothing's moving. That interstitial fluid is just like a hot lake of fire, and this lake of fire just got brimstones and stuff inside of it, and it's all in your gut throughout your axillary nerve, lymph nodes and all types of things, right? Or your biliary lymph nodes. And they can't move. What happens is the adrenal glands is right behind this part, the stomach, right behind the liver. Remember, I showed y'all on the big model. Once you start cleansing them adrenal glands and you start feeding them the things they need and the right herbs, and you put them on an all-fruit diet, and they start liquefying themselves and they get all elastic again, and energy starts flowing to them properly again by way of the meridian pathways, they start producing all of the melanin neurotransmitters that they need. And the first thing it does is start producing acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is this hormone that shoots throughout the blood, and it's utilized by the bloodstream and all the cells. And what it does is it tells these lymph nodes and these lymph vessels to constrict and dilate. So they're just doing this. While they're doing this, what happens is the lymph begins to move and pump and move towards the kidneys. Now, since they sit on top of the kidneys, it acts as the actual plug, or what we're going to call the power source to turn the kidneys on. Now the filtration system is plugged into the wall because you're feeding it all alkaline electricity. See that? The anionic environment. Now the kidneys are now filtering all the metabolic waste, all the acid, all the phytic acid, all the uric acid, all the carbonic acid, all the lactic acid, all the sulfuric acid that's been burning you alive. The kidneys is now processing that shit out. All because you turned on what? The adrenal glands. All because you turned on what? The adrenal glands. Notice that the adrenal glands is smack dead in the middle of what? The gut. Without the gut, you have no kidneys. Without the gut, you have no adrenal glands. Without the gut, you have no aorta. Without the gut, you have no vena cava. Without the gut, you have no heart. Without the gut, you have no lungs. Without the gut, you have no spleen. Without the gut, you don't have anything that we're looking at here. That's why we have to pay attention and take care of the solar plexus, or what you call the gut. Son, people, take care of your solar plex chakra, which is your gut. Make sure that you feed these things light cold entity, because it's full of light. It's called biophotons. So you need to be eating biophotons. And it's impossible to be eating biophotons if you're cooking dead meat. It's impossible. Impossible. Y'all got what I'm saying so far? Type in some nines. Y'all got what I'm saying so far? Type in some nines. Yes, the gut. The gut. The gut. The gut. Now, we showed you how to go liquiditarian, solid food vacation, right? We showed you how to clean the GI with a GI botanical broom, right? We showed you how to start knocking all the calcification and the dust off the lymphatic system, or the lymph nodes that's associated in the gut, right? Now we have to deal with nerves, because the blood is what feeds the cells of the body. The nervous system is what communicates with the cells of the body. The lymphatic system is what cleanses the cells of the body. So now we got to turn the nerves on. All right. The best way to turn the nerves on, you can always get my essential glandular kit or my nervous system kit off my website, or you can write down these herbs. Or you got to write down these herbs. First herb, Goku Cola. Goku Cola, very, very good for the nervous system. Another one, Ginkgo B. Ginkgo B, one of the oldest trees in existence, straight from up out of Africa. Very good for the nervous system and your neurological aspect. Another one, Blue vervain leaf. Or if you can find the flowers, amazing. Very good for the nervous system. Lily of the valley leaf. Lily of the valley leaf. Oh man. Amazing for the nervous system. Another one. Valerian root. Very good for the nervous system. Very, very, very good for the nervous system. Another one. Bugle weed. Greater bugle weed. Very good for the nervous system. Mix these things all together. You can do them all equal parts. Make sure you kind of lead it in blue vervain or lead it in valerian root. Mix them all together. Make a tea. Drink your herbs. Or you can get my nervous system kit off my website, or my 3 bitters deals with the nervous system from off the website, or you can get the central or glandular kit. Either one addresses the nerves. Either one. You see that? So now we got the communication going. We're working on the adrenal glands. We're working on all these things. This by default will turn them kidneys on. And kidney filtration is salvation. Let me say it again. I just made that up too. I'm coining that shit. Kidney filtration is salvation. Y'all put that in. I like that, boy. Y'all put that inside the comment board. Kidney filtration is salvation. You want to save your body? Getting them kidneys filtrated. Kidney filtration is salvation, but the kidneys cannot filtrate if the autonomic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system is not working. So you got to get the adrenals and the nervous system back online. The adrenals and the nervous system will not go back online if they backed up interstitially and you got hard ass lymph nodes and lymph vessels everywhere. You see that? You see that? And you won't get that broken up unless you go liquiditarian. A solid food vacation. Y'all see how it always happen? Digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. These are the 4 keys to the kingdom. And kidney filtration is what brings salvation, y'all. Yes, kidney filtration is salvation. I like that, boy. Straight up. That's how you know the creative juices is flowing right now. I like that. I'm coining that deal. All right. If y'all got what I'm saying so far, make sure that y'all type in some 9s and we're going to jump back into the presentation because now we on a healing flow. See, now the art of healing is kicking in. And we're going to even throw some variances in there, some different, okay, what happened if all this is going on and you're not filtrating? What we got to do? We finna start throwing in different scenarios inside of here, showing y'all how you have to be able to adjust on the fly. See, to be a healer is not a point A to B program. To be an ill healer is not a 12-step program. To be a true healer is to know how to adjust because everybody's biological clock is different. Everybody responds differently to herbs. Everybody responds differently to a diet. Everybody's in a different stages of health too. You got people that's in acute, subacute stages. You got people that's in chronic stages. And you got people that's on a deathbed in degenerative stages. All of these is going to be a different healing approach. All of them. All right, let's get it. Let's go back to the presentation. All right, so now there's a reason why the lymphatic system covers the entire body. There's a reason why the lymphatic system is 5 times bigger than the blood system. There's a reason why every cell has its own lymphatic system. There's a reason why the lymphatic system was created when all other things was created, because that is your elimination process. Everything in life goes through consumption and elimination. Everything. You can't show me one living entity in this existence that doesn't consume and eliminate. If you consume it, you have to be able to get rid of it, because through this consumption, there is a biological process that takes place that creates all types of gnarly chemistry and byproducts that will kill your ass if you don't know how to get it out of the body. And that's the reason why the creator Yahweh created us with a lymphatic system. If you learn this system, you learn how to heal anything on the body, but you have to know that it comes from the gut. And the only way to start processing and cleansing anything is starting with the gut. But not just pooping. You got to start cleaning the gut interstitially on a cellular level. And that's what I'm teaching y'all. All right. Now, When you start getting into the parotid salivary glands, the salivary ducts, the tongue, the teeth, all of these different things are a part of the lymphatic system. Y'all see these big old patches? This is all part of the lymphatic system. These things produces something called amylose, amylase, trypsin, and these are alkaline mucosa response to help you break down and alkaline your food, showing you that you're supposed to have an alkaline living, not diet. See that? So the lymphatic process starts the moment you bite on a food. The moment you bite on a fruit, the moment you bite on a vegetable, the lymphatic digestion process starts. Well, at least it's supposed to, if you're not backed up interstitially. You see that? See that white drainage patch showing you that the tonsils are big lymph nodes to deal with the acids that accumulates in your mouth. But a lot of y'all get y'all tonsils taken out. And you wonder why you got a lot of throat and mouth cancer running around amongst the black community, because you don't have the lymph nodes with all the bacteria at to help combat and kill things that's not supposed to be inside of your body, or what we're going to call your miniature universe. All right. Then you have the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is a part of the lymphatic system. This again comes from the gut. Remember, the thyroid gland is in control of your basal temperature. Say if you catch a fever right now, that's because the thyroid. Notice people without thyroids cannot get fever because the thyroid is what shoots the basal temperature up above 100.1 and 100.3 degrees to induce and start making you sweat, for you can bring in circulation and start sweating out toxemia. This is a healing mechanism gland on the body. Not only that, it's in control of your calcium utilization. Remember, the calcium buffering system is all a part of the lymphatic system. That's what's inside of the mucosa membrane. There is no difference between cholesterol. There is no difference between lymph fluid, and there's no difference between mucus. They are all three the same thing, and they are made to save the body, not kill the body. What's killing the body is the excessive mucus buildup because you haven't changed what you've been putting in your mouth, which is acidic forming foods for eating animals and grains and all types of unsprouted beans and all types of things that you ain't supposed to be putting in your bio-spiritual body. All right. So thyroid gland, part of the lymphatic system. So I hope y'all writing this down, because right now what we're going through is the lymphatic system. We're going through the lymphatic system. So y'all need to write down lymphatic system. Y'all hear me? Y'all need to write down lymphatic system physiology, because right now we finna go through every organ that's associated with the lymphatic system. And we're going to prove that all of these organs that's associated with the lymphatic system come from the gut. So in order to heal the lymphatic system and to open up the lymphatic system, you have to go after the associated organs and tissues, which all springs from the gut. All right. All right, y'all hear me? Let's get back to it then. I just want to make sure that I'm not losing nobody. All right, let's get it. Ain't no thing. Okay. So we then went over the thyroid. We then went over all the glands. We then went over the salivary glands, the tonsils. All these things are part of the lymphatic system. Now we're going down to the thyroid. Now the thyroid is what you call the throat chakra. All the chakras are associated with the lymphatic system, showing you that when you cleanse the lymphatic system, you actually cleanse your auric field and you cleanse your chakras as well. Because you have the glymphatic system, which is nothing but a part of the lymphatic system. And when you get into cleansing the glymphatic system and the cerebral spinal fluid that's inside of there, cleaning out all the amyloid proteins to truly drain the sinus cavities, you're cleaning the hypothalamus gland, which is your keter. Then you start cleansing up the pineal gland, which is your third eye. You see what I'm saying? Now we're coming down to the lymphatic system. We're cleansing the actual thyroid gland, which is your throat chakra. You see what I'm saying? Now we're going down again and you start cleansing the thymus. The thymus gland is one of the biggest lymphatic associated organs on the body, other than the other than the liver to me. And the thymus gland is what covers the heart. This is your heart chakra. Notice how important the thymus gland is, though. Now, let me show you how important this thymus gland is. The thymus gland is just amazing. And now we're starting to talk about, the chakras and endocrinology, y'all. It gets real deep. So when you start really getting into this thymus gland, I just want to show y'all how amazing this thymus gland truly is. Look how big it is. Look how big that thymus gland is and how that thymus gland covers the heart. And the reason why it's so big and the reason why it covers the heart, because the heart is not only the second brain of the body, but it's the foundation to your spirituality. The heart is really where a lot of your gut associated emotions is held at. It's been scientific clinical trials showing that people that get heart transplant take on all of the psycho characteristics of their donor. They take on all the psychological traumas of their donor, all the memories of their donors, different types of gifts and talents of their donor. It was a white man, a KKK member that got a heart transplant from a rapper that was a motorcyclist. And he ended up getting into an accident and dying, but they was able to save the heart and give it to the white man. This white man that was used to rock and roll music started liking rap music and started liking jazz and stuff. And when he went back to the family of the black owner of the heart, that was like, well, he was a musician. He loved rap music. He loved jazz, showing you that a lot of memories and emotions is stored in the heart. The heart chakra is amazing because it's associated and it deals with love. Well, guess what sits right on top of the heart to protect it? The spiritual lymphatic system, or what you call the thymus gland. The thymus gland is actually, and this flap right here, this is the thymus gland. And the thymus gland sits right on top of the heart, but the thymus gland is where the T cells, or what you call thymus cells, or the B cells, or what you call bone marrow cells, these are blood cells that actually go to the thymus gland at birth, for they can be trained how to be assassins and to kill foreign invaders in the body. So the thymus gland is to protect the love organ of your body. Notice that the love organ must be protected by a lymphatic associated organ, a lymphatic associated tissue, showing you not only that the lymphatic system cleanses the body of physical ailments, cleanses the body of physical instruments that kill the body, but also of emotional and spiritual things that kill the body too. The lymphatic system it cleanses your ancestral line. It cleanses chromatic energy up out of the body, y'all. And you're building up that chromatic energy by eating murdered animals, by, doing wrong to people. All of that shit get memorized and fossilized in the cells. And the lymphatic system have to deal with it. But you so backed up, you can't even wipe away your sins through love, because love covered a multitude of transgressions. Love covered a multitude of sins. But your lymphatic system down, so the thymus gland down. It ain't protecting you from a damn thing. See that we can go spiritual with it. We can go so many places when it comes to the anatomy of the body, because you are God. Y'all get what I'm saying? Type in some nines. Y'all get what I'm saying? Type in some nines. Y'all get what I'm saying so far? Type in some nines. Yeah, man, that thymus gland is very, very important. All praises. All right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. Now, notice everything we're going through is lymphatic associated tissues. Remember, it's 4 keys to the kingdom: digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. If you super skinny, you're malabsorbed. You're not absorbing. Something is blocking the villi inside of your duodenum, and usually it's a lot of acids that is built up and associated mucus from the acids that have been calcified and crystallized in that area. You have to hydrate that area. H3O2. Go on a fruit juice diet, a fruit juice fast. Of course, that's the thymus gland again, sitting right above the heart, protecting the heart, which is what it's supposed to do. Then you got the lungs. Remember, the lungs are a part of the gut. Now check this out. So now we're looking at the post-laryngeal, the pre-laryngeal and post-laryngeal parts. Notice the derivatives. This is all coming from the primitive gut tube. Let's just go over it again. Let's go over it again real fast, family. So we see that the definite oral cavity come from the gut. You see that? The pharynx come from the gut. The pharyngeal pouches, derivative, the tongue, auditorial tubes, middle ears, tonsils, thymus, thyroid gland and parathyroid gland, respiratory passage, all comes from the gut. The esophagus, the stomach, the duodenum, the liver, the biliary apparatus, the pancreas, all come from the gut. Then you have the stomach. We're going to go over this in a different class because I want to get to a point here. And all this is just talking about a lot of different parts. Now, this is the duodenum, and this shows you the 4 parts of the duodenum. Now, this duodenum part that I'm talking about here, this is where all of your absorption happen at. Now, don't get me wrong. You do get a little absorption when you start really talking about, the transverse colon. Absorption happen in the transverse colon as well. But most of your actual absorption comes from this right here. And we're going to show you that. 4 parts of the duodenum. And you will see that it is 8 to 10 centimeters long, descends along the right side of L1 through L3 vertebrae. And the duodenum is the ascending part of the ascending. This little bitty 9-inch tract is how you feed your blood. Inside of here, you got something called microvilli, and you got trillions of bacteria that's swimming in these little fingers of microvilli that gets the broken down food and takes it to the bloodstream. And this is the microvilli. This is what's inside of the duodenum. And inside of these things is trillions and trillions of bacteria. And that's why we have to talk about bacteria. You see that? Villi, epithelium, and intestines. This is all talking about this little 9-inch tract that I'm finna show y'all on the model. That way y'all can see how it actually looks on a model. Let me show you how it looks on a model. Let's move these back real fast. Remember, we in class, y'all. We in class. Lift this up. Let's put the gut back on. So, all right. Now, this is supposed to be like this, y'all. Then this is the transverse colon. Okay. Now, you can see the first part. Here go the stomach. Then the liver go right here. Now, if I take this liver off, here go the stomach, right? Now, if I take the stomach off from the caloric sphincter and from the pyloric sphincter, and I take it off, this is the cardiac sphincter. This is the pyloric sphincter. Now, once you go past that pyloric sphincter door, you are actually going into the duodenum. Here go the ending or the beginning of the pyloric sphincter right here on the stomach. So this is the pyloric door. The pyloric door actually butts up to the pyloric sphincter that goes into the duodenum. So now you do get some absorption that take place inside of the transverse colon. This is the transverse colon, but you get a lot of tapeworms here too for people that's very septic. So we're gonna take off the actual transverse colon and we're gonna take off the intestines. Now we're looking at the duodenum. This is the duodenum. This little 9-inch tract. Notice that the pancreas is connected directly to the duodenum and the gallbladder, or what we're going to call the liver, is directly connected. And the reason why is because the pancreas actually yields itself 4,000 enzymic reactions to help break down the food inside the duodenum. You see these little grooves inside the duodenum? That's what you call villi. Deep within the grooves of the villi is trillions and trillions of bacteria. Lactobacillus bacteria, Biobifidum bacteria, Candida bacteria, all the ancestors in here. Making sure that it's feeding the spirit, because the spirit is in the blood and the blood is what gives you life. The fire is in the blood. The fire is the actual Ruach HaKodesh, or what they call the Holy Spirit, or the prana, or the Kundalini energy. All of that takes place in the blood that is risen by the chrism from your sacral chakra, or the gonads, where your sexual energy is actually created at. to rise. How Santa Claus come down the chimney, then go back up the colostrum. It's the same thing. How Christ walked up into the hill of Golgotha, the skull, and was actually executed. The same thing happens inside of your body, and it's very closely associated with this duodenum process. So if you look at the grooves inside of here, you have trillions and trillions of bacteria inside here that takes the broken down metabolic food, and then it takes it into something called blood capillaries or blood capillaries. But notice you have the actual pancreas right here to help break down the food. Then you have the gallbladder that's on the back of the liver that creates something called bile salt. And this bile salt helps break the food down and electrify the food more. So about time the ancestors, what we're going to call the bifidobacteria, the prokaryotic cells get to it, it's already ready for them to take it to the blood and put it on the train station. And then the blood take it to each individual cell of the body and feeds the cell what it needs. Or the liver will create an amino acid structure, and then it is sent it through the gallbladder, take it into the duodenum. The duodenum will pick it up, and then the blood will take the amino acids where it needs, and then it'll form into a protein on site, y'all. This is how amazing your body is. It'll form into what is needed on site, at the site, y'all. Look, the body is amazing, man. The biospiritual body is amazing. And all of these things come from where? The gut. All of these things come from where? The gut. All right, let's get back to it. So now we got that process taken care of. Let me blow this thing up. Hold on, y'all. One second, family. Okay, so now we done went through that. So they went through the intestines, we done went through the duodenum, the absorption factor. You have to make sure that you're cleansing out, and that's what the hydration is for, to cleanse out the duodenum, because that's where all the absorption is happening at by way of the microbiota and by way of the microvilli. And a lot of people don't know that if you throw off the bacteria or these microorganisms, or what you'll call the microbiota in the gut, your whole body get thrown off, because they are the ones who do all the thinking for you. They're the ones who create and putting things on sites. They're the one who's creating T cells and B cells to create this so-called immune system that I don't believe in. I'm gonna call it the lymphatic defense system. But without the bacteria inside the body, won't none of these things be happening. And that's why I'm an advocate, and I hate. When I say hate, I hate it with a passion. I hate antibiotics, because you are killing the bacteria of the body. And that's the reason why when they hand you an antibiotic, they got to hand you another one, because they know that death is associated with anything that's against life. Anti means against, bio means life. Antibiotics means against the bacteria that creates the life inside of my body. These are the ancestors, that we are made of the ancestors, y'all. We already talked about the liver. The liver is in control of over 20,000 different types of functioning of the body. It's the chemical factory of the body. The gallbladder is connected to the liver. Here go the pancreas. The pancreas is one of your biggest digestion factors or organs. Then you have the jejunum, and you actually have the duodenum, which is what we just went through. And the liver is an associated organ, lymphatic associated organ. The liver actually have cleansing type of mechanisms or detoxification mechanisms into there. That's where you get the hepatic duct and all these things from. So you always have to cleanse the liver too. And usually the herbs that you need to cleanse the liver, like burdock root and milk thistle, dandelion roots and things like that, dandelion leaf, all of these different things that cleanse the liver is very good for the skin, because the skin and the liver comes from the same epithelial layer skin when we get into endoderm, ectoderm, and mesoderm in embryology. Okay. Notice it's talking about the mucosa folds. Man, like I'm telling you, the mucus is very important. The gallbladder is what creates mucus. Mucosa fold is what they call it. And we get back to that. Man, this gut is so important, man. Now, I want to really particularly talk about a part that a lot of people don't like to talk about because they don't know what it is. And this is what extends from the cecum. The cecum large intestines, what extends from there is something called the appendix. And the reason why I want to talk about the appendix, and let me see if people know. Somebody that I haven't taught this to, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Somebody that I haven't taught this to, though. All right, somebody that I have not taught this to. What is the appendix created for? It can't be somebody I haven't taught this to. What is the appendix created for? I bet you, let's see if you know. What is the appendix created for? Where's my appendix at? And I'm telling you now that the appendix is a lymphatic organ. The appendix is a lymphatic organ. The appendix is very, very, very important. What is the appendix created for? That's right. Julian Israel. Julian got it right. It's to create bacteria. You see that? So the appendix is to create and produce bacteria. You need this bacteria in the gut to break down your food for you to have good absorption and good digestion, utilization and elimination. So a lot of people are getting their appendix taken out because it was in an itis or it was inflamed, meaning bacteria was overpopulated in the area because you had a stomach full of acids. But that's the reason why the bacteria is there in the first place, is to chew on acids. So a lot of people getting their appendix taken out and don't know that that is a major part of your lymphatic system. You see that? No, the appendix is not for storing blood. The appendix is for creating bacteria to help maintain a balance of my OT inside of the intestinal tract, or what we call the duodenum. That's what the appendix is for. It's for good biobifiidal bacteria. It's a warehouse for good bacteria. Yes, it is, Slim Key Shipping LLC. Yes, it is. I like that word too. I like how you harmonize that. The warehouse for good bacteria. Well, there's no such thing as bad bacteria too. So let's not start, using titles for good or bad when it comes to bacteria. There's only a good or bad medium. It's only a good or bad host. Bacteria ain't good or bad. They just gonna play their job depending on the environment of the host. If you live in an acidic lifestyle, then it's bad bacteria. You live in an alkaline lifestyle, then it's good bacteria. Still the same bacteria. They just change their role on how you change your environment of your body. So it's the host's fault. It's never the bacteria fault. It ain't the ancestors' fault. It's our fault. If yours gone, you need to be on 3 bitters ASAP. You don't have no appendix, 3 bitters, 3 bitters, 3 bitters. My bitter one is full of bacteria that are relining your gut lining with bacteria. That's what the 3 bitters was actually originally created for, to restore the lactobacillus, the biobifiidum, and the candida bacteria back to the gut. Back to the gut. That's why you see quassia bark and all these other different types of roots that I'm using from Africa, because it comes with a whole lot of natural bacteria already on the herbs that's going to reline that gut. It's going to reline that gut. Yes, the appendix is designed to create bacteria. Y'all got this. The herbal ash pot. I take 3 bitters daily. That's what I'm talking about, Queen. Them bitters is changing. Man, my 3 bitters is changing the world. Y'all key is stomach acid good. Yes, stomach acid is phenomenal. You need stomach acid. Without stomach acid or pepsinogen or hydrochloric acid, it's impossible to break down, your food. So yes, you need it. You need it. I'm on 3 bitters now. That's what I'm talking about. I'm on 3 bitters. Everybody on the 3 bitters now. All praises. All praises. All of y'all on 3 bitters. Them 3 bitters are saving the world, y'all. I love it. I love it. All right, let's get back to it. And then I'm going to get up out of here. And I'm going to answer some questions for y'all tomorrow. I'm going to go through a few of these questions. I got y'all. I know I ain't been live. I've been kicked off. I've been detoxing, and I actually been in YouTube jail, I guess is what they call it. I ain't been able to go live for real. All right, now let's get to the last end of this, and I'm gonna answer a few of y'all questions. But I want to show y'all something. Now we getting, so we went through the foregut, we went through the midgut. Now we're getting into the primitive hide gut. that last end of the primitive gut tube that I was talking about. We see that the lungs come from the gut. We see that the ears come from the gut. The inner ear, the audio tubes come from the gut. The lung buds come from the gut. The esophagus come from the gut. The tongue come from the gut. The lymphatic system come from the gut. The blood come from the gut. The liver come from the gut. The duodenum come from the gut. The spleen come from the gut. The kidneys and the adrenals come from the gut. All these things come from the gut. Let's keep reading what else comes from the gut. All right. Now, I want to show y'all something. Notice what this says. The uteric bud, what makes the uterine, that comes from the, and notice that's created first. The uterus is created first, y'all. I just want to point this out. That comes from the gut, the primitive gut tube, the hind gut. Then from there, you get into the mesonephric duct. That's where now you're starting to see the kidneys and stuff come into place. That come from the hind gut. Then once you get up, extension from the uterus, then and the ovaries, now you start seeing the gonads are created. Oh, wait, which one came first, the chicken or the egg, baby? Hey, look, I ain't put this here. This was here first. So we see the female parts of the embryo were created first. Then you start seeing gonads and male parts springing up. But notice what was created first: the uterine bud wall, the ovaries. Then once you keep going up that mesonephric duct, you start seeing gonads and seeing things like that. I'm just saying. I'm pointing that out there, y'all. That's funny than a mug, man. Oh man, that is funny. And then you start getting into other deep parts of the kidneys and the lymphatic system. I'm going to come off of here for a minute, and I'm going to answer some of y'all questions. Hey, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at the facts, y'all. Be mad at the facts, boy, because I know a lot of Hebrews is jumping down my throat. My last thing where I was talking about how the secret connection between extraterrestrials and black people, boy, and we got on which one came first, the black woman or the black man, and boy, they didn't like the scientific analysis that I provided, the information. And just like the more and more you get into anatomy, anatomy, and physiology, the more and more you start really studying the biospiritual body, and you start studying prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells and symbiotic and embryonic relationships. Oh, it's just overwhelming evidence that the black goddess was here first. It just is. It just is, man. I mean, hey, I don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. I love y'all though. All right, I'm gonna answer a few questions and we're gonna get up out of here. Before I start answering the questions, did all of y'all get some understanding, overstanding, and understanding? Did all of y'all get some understanding, overstanding, and understanding? Type in some nines. I know, man. Hey, boy, look, one thing you can't knock is clinical trials and evidence and facts. You know what I'm saying? Look, you can talk all the smack you want, but once that information and it's shown, get proven, I mean, what can you say? You got to change. You just got to change your mind from maybe you know the things you've been read. Everything is not right. If it's in everything in the book, it's just not correct. No matter if it's spiritual book, no matter what book it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to take a lot of stuff from face value until you study the whole matter out, because you got to remember a lot of things are written by man. But when you get into clinical trials and you start looking at pictures and you start looking at embryonic stages and the stages of them going through their evolutionary process and just blueprints and how the woman yields most of her chromosomes and DNA to give to man. And I mean, how everything starts off from that feminine aspect, how everything, all fetuses starts off as a female, and then, you know, during the certain evolution stages of the trimester, then that's when you start seeing penises and stuff get converted over from a clitoris. And how was it? It was a clitoris before. I mean, hey, you can't, you know what I'm saying? What can you say? Hey, I was mad as hell at first. I ain't gonna even lie. Especially coming from my Hebraic background. I was, you know, I come from a class in the school of I'm not gonna say elders, because the elders I came from was super whack. But I come from some brothers that, like, we went hard when it came to the man being the man. I was here first. That's the reason why I rule. Like, we came from that. So, you know, I'm ruling my household with an iron fist. Woman, I was created first. Shut your ass up, woman. God created me first. And boy, was I wrong in a mug, boy. I'm just saying, man. Hey, boy, just make you put things in perspective when you really, really do your due diligence and really, 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 really study. You know what I'm saying? Not just sticking to one study and not doing comparative studies and studying a lot of other things and then bringing the research together and then coming up with a conclusion. You know what I'm saying? Like when you do that, that's real studying. Not just sticking to one source and saying that this source trump all. That's not real studying. You know what I'm saying? You're doing yourself a disservice when you actually do that because there's other information out that is more overwhelming and that produces facts in logical sense that you'd be like, oh, man. And I'm not here to knock anybody. You know, what you believe is what you believe. I'm here to build with you, unify. It's okay to sit at the table and have different, you know, to have different ideologies and have a different perspective on life. I'm not knocking nobody. But once the facts and the evidence get presented, that changes the tone of the conversation, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not here knocking or bashing anybody. I love all of my Hebrew brothers. I identify as a Hebraic African Israelite. I love all my Hebrew brothers. I love all of my African Afu brothers. I love all of my Kemetic brothers. I love all of my Hindu brothers. I love all of my Buddha brothers that study in Buddha. I love all of it. Bring it all together. It's the same science system. When you get done, once you take the religion out of it and put the religion to the side, it's all talking about rising from your lower animalistic nature and becoming the true God that's within. So, you know, as long as you loving your brother, as you loving yourself and you're not stealing and you keeping the eternal laws of Yahweh, the eternal laws, which is in every system, the eternal laws. Hey, man, I can rock with you. We can build, brother. That's it. That's it. A boy with 7 tumors. Send it to my inbox, Queen, with the boy with 7 tumors, and we'll get on it. All right, let's see what questions y'all got. Love your honesty, brother. Oh, it's all good, man. That's all I can be is honest, you know. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. You know, I'm not here to start fires. I'm here to bring truth. Whether that goes against your indoctrination or whether that makes you uncomfortable because you've been believing a lie your whole life or not. That's not my problem. I'm here to wake you up from that slumber. That's my mission, to heal you and to wake you up from that slumber. And a lot of this is going to be going against a lot of stuff that we've been taught since we were younger. And that stuff hurts sometimes because it breaks apart your personality and you feel like you're left. You feel like you left for nothing, or you're back with that same, you know, self-identification issue. You can't identify with self because everything you've been taught. Every culture that's been put in your face ain't been your culture. Everything you've been taught about something ain't been real, you know. And I know it hurt. I was hurt. It really was. But, you know, we have to grow and we have to learn from the past, from the ancestors, and from our mistakes. That's it. You know, the whole thing is to unify the black consciousness, bring together the black men and the black women again, get black men back into the black communities and the households again. You know, group economics, black education going, and I hate saying the word black, but y'all identify with it. I hate the word black, that's the color of a crown, but since y'all identify with it, I'm gonna use it. Truly bringing back our culture. That's what we need. Science coming from our culture, literature coming from our culture, financial stability coming from our culture, education coming from our culture, history coming from our culture, food coming from our culture, the way we drink coming from our culture, even the way we have sex. We need to be doing that from our cultural aspect, the way we make love. And I mean, all of this stuff need to be retaught to the so-called black community. And I'm a forerunner for that. That's what I'm here to do. Whether it hurts your feelings or not, I'm all in your face with it. I ain't behind nobody back talking shit. I ain't lying. I ain't pointing the finger. I'm saying, look, I was a part of the problem at once too. Forgive me, family. Let's move forward and let's unify the so-called black community. That's what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? We can speak about the particulars later. Does the 3 bitters help for cleaning out bad foods while also cutting them out? Yes, the 3 bitters is the 3 bitters is for all of that. When you look at the 3 bitters are a complete body system cleanse. Unless you're dealing with degenerative diseases and, like, you know, some gnarly viruses that the body created or was created in the Fort Detrick military base by our government. If you're not dealing with that, then the 3 bitters is a good cleanse. Also, y'all take advantage of my kits and bundles on the site too. You know, the kits and bundles are very, very good, and a lot of them come with the 3 bitters. But the 3 bitters are amazing for anything that you're dealing with. We didn't see the 3 bitters heal herpes. Literally. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't doing it on purpose. I didn't know, but it did it. You know what I'm saying? So I just seen 3-bitters get rid of certain cancer. So them 3-bitters, take advantage of them 3-bitters. They not that expensive. They are like $129 on the site. They last 2 weeks. They can last longer if you take them in certain dosages, but they are amazing and they will cleanse and rebuild the body. And it's very, very good for the kidneys, adrenals. They cleanse the lymphatic system, the nervous system, the colon, the skin, and all the major organs of the body. It's full of good bacteria. I hate the word good bacteria. It's full of bacteria, so to reline the intestinal tract and the duodenum. And it is very, very alkaline and electric, very electrical herb. So, the 3-bitters are really our number one sellers other than our geogenetics, because we specialize in chronic cases. A lot of the herbalists that can't heal herpes, HIV, stage 4 cancer, and all the stuff like that, they send them to us because that's what we specialize in. So we really are dealing with a lot of cases like that where people are on their deathbed and don't have that long to live, or dealing with so-called incurable diseases. That's what we specialize in. You know what I'm saying? Not bragging on that, because I love to do preventive maintenance, but we deal with those specific cases, and the 3-bitters is even kicking that ass. You see what I'm saying? So the 3-bitters is most definitely good. I have diabetes. What to do? Please, thanks. Yehudite, Yisrael. What you need to do is go on the website. I just did a whole hyperglycemia video breaking down diabetes, what it is, and how to heal from it. If you got diabetes 1, you're going to need my geogenetic therapeutic level 1 package off the site. If you're dealing with diabetes 2, you just need the diabetes reversal kit. But either or, you're going to need it on an all-fruit diet, whether you insulin dependent or not. The all-fruit diet. Don't get caught up in the mythology about how sugar is too much fruit and it's going to raise and spike your sugar and all of that other. It's going to raise my glycogen and all. Don't even get caught up in that bull crap. You might glucose load for a day or two, but you're going to see that all fructose diet, that Genesis Bereshit 129 diet, their fruitarian diet is going to regulate that sugar properly, and it's going to go through something called cellular infusion, where you don't even need to use the pancreas to heal. You ain't gonna even need to use the pancreas. So insulin ain't gonna have nothing to do with it, because insulin is only in the body to pass glucose through the blood and brain barrier, through the blood barrier for you to get ATP. When you're using an all fruit diet or fructose diet, which is the true diet of Adam and Kawal, who they call Adam and Eve, you don't need the pancreas to do that. You're yielding energy through cellular infusion. So watch that video and get the diabetes reversal package if you got diabetes 2. But if you got hyperglycemia, diabetes mellitus 1, and you're insulin dependent, you're going to need my geogenetic therapeutic package level 1 off on my website. I need to get rid of schizoaffective disorder, tic disorder, ADHD, ED problems. Please help, brother. Brother, you need to book a consultation, because I got to tell you what all that even means. But I can tell you off back that you have a very, 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 very stagnated lymphatic system, and you're going to need a whole systematic cleanse. You're going to need the geogenetic therapeutic package level 2 on an all fruit diet. But you need to get you a consultation off the website, and we can talk about that, because I want to read your eyes, and we're going to have to write you up an actual protocol. I did a whole video on H. pylori too, talking about H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori, showing the bacteria. That's 2 videos ago. All the stuff y'all asking, I have extensive research and answers to, y'all. Herpes, y'all. I got so many videos on herpes and healing testimonies on herpes, y'all. I love y'all. How to heal liver cancer. Anybody is dealing with liver cancer, we just healed a lady of liver cancer and a little boy of liver cancer. Remember, cancer is nothing but mutating degenerative cells that are past the point of being regenerated. That's all it is. Cancer is when the cells are so damaged that they start lacking 66% of its oxygen or less. And usually when you see cancer, that is the last stage of acidosis. That's extreme acidosis. So whenever you're dealing with cancer, you're dealing with a whole lot of acids. You have to change the environment, get all these acids up out of the body. I got plenty videos on cancer. Anybody dealing with cancer, you're gonna need the Geogenetic Therapeutic Package Level 3 off the website on an all-fruit diet, and don't play around with that. When you got cancer, that means that they see pathological entities when they actually did a biopsies and check your cells. That means your cells are dying and mutating at an alarming rate because it's lacking oxygen and it's full of acidosis and parasites. So geogenetics all day, all fruit diet. And we gonna get this healing house open back up real soon, y'all. We are. Best way to gain weight for a college athlete: alfalfa sprouts, horsetail, alfalfa sprouts. They feed that to horses that are malnutrition and need to gain weight for a quick sale. Alfalfa sprouts. All right, family, I love y'all. I love y'all indeed. And the truth, I'm finna get up out of here. It's 10:30, y'all. I ain't want to be on here too long. Hopefully, I brought some enlightenment to y'all. I expanded y'all consciousness and opened up y'all minds. It's time to truly, truly heal our bodies. Remember, everything comes from the gut. All organs come from the guts. All of your spiritual systems truly, truly come from the gut. If you heal the gut and cleanse the gut and rehabilitate and regenerate the gut, you can do that to your whole entire body. Remember, your gut is dead center. That is your solar plexus or your solar chakra. Solar means sun. That is the sun child that is inside of your belly, and make sure that y'all are taking care of it. All right, remember, eating is communion with God, and you do not want to be communicating with God with dead, defecated animals, with white, sticky mucus, the blood corpuscles that come from animals, or the dairy lipid-based lymphatic system and pink, sluggish blood, or what you're going to call dairy products that come from these animals. Make sure that you're not killing and eating these things. You are made to eat the reproductive part of the plant. Only time a plant's supposed to be harmed is when you are sick and you need healing. That's when you start plucking roots and all of that. But if you see your original diet, your diet is made to replenish the earth. You eat the fruits and you poop these fruits out in the grass, and new plants grow from these things. That's why you're supposed to eat things with seeds. You poop these seeds and your poops acts like a fertilization or fertilizer, and new plants grow. That's the reproductive side. I've never seen a tree dying from picking the fruit. See that? I've never seen a water vine or a grapevine dying from picking the grapes. You see that? So the only time you're supposed to be even plucking up plants to kill plants is when you need the roots, the actual roots of that plant, to do some real healing, because you done violated nature and transgressed against the eternal law of God. Other than that, you are a frugivore by nature, and the herbs are for the healing of the body, and you wouldn't need healing if you wasn't violating and sinning and transgressing against natural selection and the natural order of God. This is simple. It's very simplistic. Open your eyes, open your mind, open your heart chakra, activate your body, activate your spiritual body, cleanse your nervous system, and stop listening and following the bullshit. All right? Just tune into you and look at nature. That is your teacher, and that'll show you how to live forever. Whether I'm talking about on this side or the other side. It's all talking about the same side, y'all. I'm telling you. And we get into videos about that. True longevity and living a true eternal life is following the laws of nature, what we call the eternal Torah, the eternal law of God. All right, with that being said, peace, love, light, and healing. Peace, love, light, and healing. I love y'all. I hope that y'all loving yourselves. Peace to the gods, peace to the earth. I'll check y'all out tomorrow. Peace.